dreamt about kills all night and thought about them all morning. My goal for us today is to walk out of here in 2 hours and have some pride in what we did defensively. Don't you think we need that? We need one of those games, right? And not for a half, for 40 minutes.
Robinson drives the lane, shot blocked into the hands of Ryan. Ryan will bring the ball over the midcourt stripe, left side Pfluger. He drives into the paint for the finger roll runner that's good.
8 stops in a row. Good work, good work, good work. Good side, Don't you dare let up down here. Don't you dare.
Pfluger with the basketball now. Pfluger baseline to August, who goes up strong for the two-handed Zach attack slam. In the corner, Farrell, his three is good.
Still got kills on my brain, man. Still got it. Boy, we're going to walk out of here proud of our defense. What was their field goal percentage?
28 for the game.
28 for the game. Really good. Really good.
To Jackson, alley-oop for Zach, and we've got a Zach attack alert.
Hello again, Irish fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey. I'm Jack Nolan, and Coach, when you play as well as you did against Boston College, most people focus on the offense, but as the folks just saw at the top of our show, throughout that game, pre-game, halftime, post-game, you focused on defense.
You know, I thought we needed to make some strides defensively, and I was very proud of how we delivered and guarded them for 40 minutes. 40 minutes of more focus and more intense defense. It is something we must continue to improve on all the way through February.
When we come back, we'll show you all the highlights of the win over Boston College, plus later in the show.
Coming up on Inside Notre Dame Basketball.
I think it's always interesting, you know, when that kind of thing happens, a key player, a great player is lost, the team really concentrates and rallies.
Well, Troy was just an unbelievable player. You know, I was always impressed with him, obviously his athletic ability, his basketball skill.
I love how we started the second half. We gave it another, run to cut it to 12, but we just really couldn't maintain.
Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame partners Sprint, Coke Zero, Under Armour, and Gatorade. Inside Notre Dame Basketball is also sponsored by Delta Airlines, proud to be the official airline of Notre Dame Athletics, Bank of America, Canon, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, SiriusXM Satellite Radio, and UPS.
All coaches hate the term must-win game, especially early in the season. But when you look at the circumstances surrounding the BC game, you had a 3-game winning streak, the game was at home, and a tough February schedule looming. This is a game you really had to win.
No question about it, Jack. We wanted to hold serve at home. We wanted to get it to 4 games in a row. Little did we know we would lose Demetrius Jackson early in the game. But I was so proud of our poise and focus. It never was a distraction as Demetrius was helped to the training room. Steve smoothly slid over to the point guard slot. Rex Pfluger came in. Our veteran guys stepped up, and we earned a heck of a league win by defending for 40 minutes.
And when Demetrius went out, your team responded with 10 straight points to take a 14-2 lead.
I think it's always interesting, when that kind of thing happens, a key player, a great player is lost, the team really concentrates and rallies, and I thought our group was great. The other thing that was so interesting and I was so proud of, Demetrius was amazing with his teammates in the second half on the bench, encouraging them.
No surprise, this is a big rivalry for Boston College, and they do rally and actually cut your lead to 2 right before halftime.
They did. I mean, we were in a dogfight. We were battling. I loved how we started the second half, though. We came out, we got out of the gate, we guarded, we kind of shut them down. I think a key to the game was Pfluger on Carter. I thought he did a great job. Freshman guarding a 5th-year senior. Big night for Rex Pfluger to kind of establish himself in our rotation.
Did that surprise you at all about how well Rex did?
It did not. It was coming. There was no question. Rex could always defend, and he plays hard and he's fearless. I think the thing we needed to work on with Rex was offensively slowing down a little bit. He almost played too hard on offense and taking care of the ball. We really pride ourselves in taking care of the ball.
And you really were in rhythm at the start of the second half. A 17-2 run to put the game away. Lots of guys played well. You got to talk about Bonzie Colson. He just loves playing against BC, and again, he scored 16 points.
You know, that's going to be his average for the rest of his life against Boston College, 16. You know, he grew up in the Conti Forum, his dad a former assistant there, but I think both he and Zach, when we play Boston College, their focus and their intensity gets up to another level.
Steve Astoria, also 16 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. He's always been a good defender, good perimeter shooter, but he's added so much to his game this year.
He really has. It was almost a clinic in how to play the game. If you're a young kid out there, watch Steve Astoria play. Feel for the game, defending. Now he's starting to lead, and in Demetrius's absence, he's really quarterbacking our team.
So the Irish win at 76-49. They go to 14-5 on the season, 5-2 in the ACC. But Coach, an unusual circumstance in this game, the halftime show actually upstaged the game because Troy Murphy's banner was unfurled down the other end of the court, above the court at halftime, his Ring of Honor banner. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the great career of Notre Dame's 2-time consensus All-American, Troy Murphy. The numbers Troy Murphy posted during his 3-year Irish career are impressive. He became the first Notre Dame player to score 2,000 points and grab 900 rebounds. He was the Big East Rookie of the Year his freshman year, and he became the first Notre Dame player to earn Big East Player of the Year honors twice. But to the people who coached him, watched him, and played with him, Troy is remembered not just for those numbers, but for how he posted those numbers.
Ultimate competitor.
The ability to score the ball.
He just kind of dominated.
Loves to play.
Only thing he cared about doing was winning basketball games and being the best that he could be.
Troy got here at the end of what I call the desert years, the 90s. When he got here, Notre Dame hadn't been to the NCAA tournament in 8 seasons.
We were way off the radar. We were 30 games under 500 in the Big East. We were kind of the whipping boy.
Troy gets here, plays 1 season for John McLeod, and then McLeod is fired.
Okay, new beginning. We had a tough year last year. Big East is crazy tough. Maybe this coach will be able to help us turn it around. And then he up and leaves and goes to North Carolina. And I remember Murph actually saying, it doesn't matter who comes in next. We're going to go out here and win a lot of games, and we're going to put this program back on the map.
A lot of challenges, but you have Troy Murphy to coach for a year. I was very fortunate. He set the tone on a daily basis. And there were days he was very hard on his teammates.
One of the first times we played, he caught me with an elbow, and I got him back. And we just go at it. And then after the game, he's like, we got to be this way all the time.
His skill level for a big guy was really unique, and he did that by being in the gym long hours every day, off season, during the season, in the pit late at night. The security guards always used to come in and say, Murph was in the 2 a.m. last night, coach.
Nobody really seen that side of him. They saw the side on the court, the finished product, but they didn't see the hours and hours that he put in. That's why he was a great player.
You know, we used to do a thing after practice, myself, Maddie, Dave, and Troy, where we'd shoot 50 threes in a row. And it was always kind of challenge each other, a goal, see who could get 50. And I think Murph to this day still holds the record of making 49 out of 50.
Yeah, well, Troy was just an unbelievable player. You know, I was always impressed with him. Obviously, his athletic ability, his basketball skill.
He can move. He's quick off the floor. He has fabulous hands and instincts. And there's great toughness.
Murphy to the baseline, all the way in and dunks it. Oh, wow. That's how you finish a drive.
You know, when I think of Troy's toughness, I think of the Rutgers games.
The most famous arena on earth, Madison Square Garden, as we continue with Big East tournament action.
Murphy spins to the baseline and hits.
Find the open man.
Murphy, 9 rebounds, first 3. Might have a double-double before halftime.
In front of those people, under those lights, people remember you. And I think that's what he tried to do that night.
25 points, 14 rebounds to lead Notre Dame to their first ever win in the Big East Conference tournament.
To get the road jerseys. because we'll see the Irish tomorrow night.
When you look at the foundation that this program is now based on and has been built on, the cornerstone of that foundation is Troy Murphy.
It's always a challenge playing for 3 different coaches, different personalities, different systems, but I think we really grew together as a nucleus.
I remember having a lot of fun, I remember winning a lot of basketball games, and just enjoying our experience together here at Notre Dame.
He's the guy that put this place back on the map.
I'm always indebted to how loyal he has been to this university and our program. He set a great intense tone and a high bar to get us our first NCAA tournament bid in a long, long time.
Now, you were in the locker room at halftime, obviously, during the ceremony, but you went back and watched Troy's speech. What did you think?
I was so impressed with his thoughts and what he said, and you know, I'm so proud that I was able to coach him for a year and what he did for our program to kind of jumpstart us, Jack, on this run of kind of getting back in the NCAA tournament and back on the map, so to speak. Great to have him back. It was a powerful weekend. It was neat to have some of his teammates back, guys that I coached my first year that made me look pretty good.
Always kind of a hard-edged guy on the floor, happy-go-lucky guy off the floor, but were you surprised by how much it meant to him?
You know, just talking to him back in the fall when I said, Troy, it's your turn to go up. For a guy that sometimes doesn't get real serious, I could tell it meant a lot to him from talking to both his mother and father, and it was great to have them back in the Joyce Center. They spent so many nights here. Watching him, it was very powerful for him and his family.
So after the Boston College win and the Troy Murphy ceremony, the Irish prepared to go to the Carrier Dome, a tough place to play, without their best player playing in the game, Demetrius Jackson. The highlights are coming up right after this timeout. What were your biggest concerns about having to take on Syracuse without Demetrius Jackson?
Well, you know, just your overall ball handling, Jack. You know, without Demetrius, you have one less guy who can probe that zone. And if you're going to be successful, you got to get into the gaps and probe it a little bit. And what was disappointing is we turned it over 9 times in the first half. That's really hard to absorb.
You got off to a great start, though, 5-0.
Yeah, we get off to a start. Syracuse calls timeout. You're thinking you're in a pretty good rhythm. Then I think we turned it over 3 or 4 times in a row. They got going offensively. They were hard for us to defend, and we were digging out of a hole the whole night. I love how we started the second half. We gave it another, run to cut it to 12, but we just really couldn't maintain. You got to make some jump shots over the top of it, and really, other than VJ, we didn't have anybody else that could really knock down jump shots.
In that first time out, Boeheim makes the change, takes out Coleman, puts in Leiden. Leiden hits some threes, everything changes. They go on a 14-0 run, and you knew the guard tandem was going to be tough to stop with Benajay and Cooney. You did a decent job on Benajay, although he made some plays. But what can you say about Cooney? He really is an Irish killer.
Yeah, he's had our number. There's no question about it. He's played great against us throughout his career. I told him after the game, I'm glad he's a senior. But we really had no answer there. But the key was we could never get in a consistent offensive rhythm. We were going to have to score to have some success up there. We just could never get in a consistent offensive rhythm. And when you look at the turnovers again, that really hurt us.
But you cleared up the turnovers after about midway through the first half, and you never stopped battling. You outscored Syracuse in the second half by 2.
Yeah, I love how we played in the second half. We got into a little bit better rhythm. We couldn't get really enough stops. It's funny, our frontline guys, Bonds and Zach, have been playing so well. They struggled a little bit. It was a tough night for them offensively. I love how they rebounded. But you never could get into a good enough rhythm, and it sure would have been nice to have Demetrius Jackson to have one more guy to probe that gap.
VJ Beacham has been good this year. Yeah. He's been consistent. This is probably the best game he's ever played, 22 points, and he did it all.
He really did. He just keeps getting better, and we thought that would happen with him as a junior, that the light bulb would really go on. But a game like that last night, even in a loss, can jumpstart a guy like VJ to another level. I'm sure counting on that.
Another really solid game as well from Steve Vastoria.
Steve Vastoria is going to have to play the whole game, handle the ball, and guard either Cooney or Benajay. That's earning your scholarship, in my opinion. Fabulous job by him, little exhausted at times, but I'm just so proud of how he's run the team and led in Demetrius's absence.
Rex Pfluger defended and had a game-high 6 assists.
I like what Rex did. He was hustling defensively. Again, here's a freshman guarding a fifth-year guy, either Benajay or Cooney. I thought he moved the ball well. He continues to be a key guy for us. We just need to keep coaching him.
So a tough loss for the Irish at the Carrier Dome. They come home to get ready for Wake Forest. When we come back, this week's Ask Coach Brey question. It's time now for this week's Ask Coach Brey question, presented by the experts at TireRack.com. This week's question comes from Sarah Alexander of Nashville, Tennessee. Coach, do you see Rex Pfluger's role in the offense changing with his play improving and his playing time increasing?
I think Rex will continue to evolve as an offensive player, picking his spots, when to get his shots. We like how he penetrates and drives. The biggest thing for Rex, where he's made great strides, is he's slowed down offensively and he's been better with the ball. Those are keys for him.
Notre Dame's impressive victory over Boston College earned everybody on the roster some playing time, including veteran walk-on Matt Gregory out of Indianapolis. The game marked his 4th appearance of the season, meaning he was more than warmed up enough to run this week's Fast Break. First car you ever drove?
Honda Odyssey minivan.
Favorite musical group or artist?
Pearl Jam.
Who was your role model?
My dad.
One thing the public would be surprised to learn about you?
I love mountains.
What did you do on your first date?
Went to a movie.
Favorite NBA player?
Gordon Hayward.
Favorite part of practice?
Free throws.
Worst part of practice?
Defense.
Which is better, knocking down a long three, blocking a key shot, or grabbing a big rebound?
Blocking a shot, grabbing it, and knocking down a big three on the other end.
City or place in the world you would like to visit?
Nepal.
One thing you always hear from Coach Brey in practice?
Let's get our energy back.
Assistant coach who is most like Coach Brey?
Moose.
Best nickname on the team and who has it?
Big Baby, Bonzi.
Best defender on the team?
Demetrius.
Best dunker on the team?
Torres.
Best dresser on the team?
Steve.
Worst dresser on the team?
Bonzi.
Freestyle swimming race, 1 lap, who wins, you or Coach Brey?
I got to give that to Coach.
Obviously, Matt wants to see some more playing time, but seriously, he's a very good player, really helps you in practice.
He has been a fabulous addition to our roster. A heck of a basketball player, really competes in practice, but the thing that I love is his maturity. He is mature, he has a great vibe, he's great in our locker room. It's a thrill having him as part of our program.
The gauntlet of February starts with the last game of January against Wake Forest. We'll talk about the week ahead right after this. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that Wake's the best 1-7 conference team I've ever seen, and after that home game, you got to go down to Miami.
Well, Jack, I'm looking at the Wake Forest team that has beaten Indiana, UCLA, and LSU. They can really score. They get up and down the court. And then we go to Miami on Wednesday, and Miami's one of the best teams in the league. They could win the regular season championship. The schedule gets very interesting.
Miami's been ranked for most of the year, so you won't want to miss next week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Basketball, highlights of both of those big games. Until then, for Coach Brey, I'm Jack Nolan. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Irish.
Inside Notre Dame Basketball with Mike Brey is presented by TireRack.com and brought to you by Team Notre Dame partners Sprint, Coke Zero, Under Armour, and Gatorade. Inside Notre Dame Basketball is also sponsored by Delta Airlines, proud to be the official airline of Notre Dame Athletics, Bank of America, Canon, Xfinity, Meyer, Notre Dame Federal Credit Union, SiriusXM Satellite Radio, and UPS.